For those that don't know, I like to do Detroit discussions here on the Disabled Danny channel, which is what we're doing today. If you're familiar, I am to assume you're a Danimal already. In which case,
Hey guys, welcome back.
you can become a Danimal by joining my cult, the Dan Fam. You can join the cult by subscribing. Anyway, Detroit discussions. And as you probably saw in the title, I'll be getting into Mother's Day here, as well as my weekly recap. Before I get too into the weeds, I want to wish a happy Mother's Day to my mom. And all of the moms out there, doing the mom thing. I see you, and appreciate you, truly. I have a bond with my mom over Detroit sports. I've talked about how I was really close with my grandpa before. Well, my mom was his oldest child. There's some fun genealogy for you. But yeah, that side of my family are huge Detroit sports fans, so I was born into this life. We're going to talk about the Lions first because
I do what I want.
Fair warning, I'll be sharing a lot of Woodward sports clips here. Like a lot. But first, here's the Lions assistant general manager talking about their first-round pick.
Watched Tyreek throughout the year, man. The kid just got better and better and better. Every time you watched him, he got better and better. And I think there's a lot more growth in this kid. This kid got a lot of upside. I don't think he's reached his full potential yet. And he got a chance to be a really, really good player for us. And we was excited that he was there for us to pick him. Great player. He got a chance to be a really, really good run player. And I think he's underrated as a pass rusher. There's some things he got to be taught. And Coach Rogers, our new D-line coach, will do a great job teaching him. And this kid got a chance to be a force in the middle. As a defense, if you're not good in the middle, you're not very good.
Here he is talking about the third-round pick that some called a reach.
And this next kid, I think he was born to be a Lion. This Isaac Tesla, I mean, you're talking about a tough, physical, competitive human being. First notice, where he stood out in the Senior Bowl is like when you go into team period and he's blocking, man, and he was just wearing those DBs out. I mean, just wearing them out. And then the guy catches the ball. Everything is with his hands. He barely ever uses his body. Tough kid, good run after the catch. We're excited about him. I think he got a ways to go. I think the upside this kid has, he got a chance to be a really good player for us. He got to grow some as a route runner, play more on the outside. The kid played, I think he was a wing T quarterback in high school. Then he went on the Hillsdale, and that's where he made the transformation to a receiver. But, man, we're excited to get the guy. And when the guy, I'm sure y'all have heard the story already. He came here on his top 30 visit. When I first saw him, he had a Lions pullover on. And then the next time I saw him, he had his Lions jersey on. I was like, man, this kid is meant to be a Lion. But what a great kid he is. We enjoyed, glad we were able to get this kid. But he was born to be a Lion.
And the thought process behind the decision, which I know is being discussed, as I said.
It started with Brad and Dan being on the same page, and then the rest of us, we follow their lead, and and we're not gonna be pressured about what anybody says. If the guy doesn't fit what we're looking for, we're just not gonna take him. And because at the end of the day, when the guy's playing for you and he's making plays, they'll forget that you took him over whoever they wanted you to take, So we just stick to what we believe, and no special formula or anything. Just stick to what we believe,
Along with that edge rusher in the 6th round.
The passion this guy has for the game, you just love it, man. And you're gonna see a relentless human being on the football field when you watch this guy play. So we're excited about him also.
A lot of Lions fans are chirping and criticizing Brad Holmes, and I kind of get it. We're not used to competent ownership or general management for years. But that's not who we are anymore. SOL is dead, and it's never coming back. Here's Woodward Sports talking about it.
To say Brad Holmes had a grade of F in a draft.
It's
also,
crazy.
you understand there's nowhere else to go for the Lions. That every single piece every single spot is filled with the Lions, which is why they go 15-2, which is why they go to the NFC Championship, which is why they're looking to overcome the final hurdle and cash in a Super Bowl. Every other spot is filled. They have no choice but to look long term. And then when you look at the pieces that they added and guard play, and they're taking a roll of the dice on a third receiver, right? By all accounts, even if Tesla works, if you keep everybody, which you already have Amon-Ra, if you do re-sign Jameson Williams, he is a ceiling of a number 3.
Told you there was going to be a lot of these. Here's another.
We got some dogs out there, but understanding who they're going to be to come together as a real team, who they're going to be, that to me does matter with the squad.
No, absolutely. And it could be a situation like we're looking at with the Tigers this year. They didn't necessarily add a shitload to the positions that we all knew that they needed to add to, but you're seeing some of these guys step up. And when you just
KG,
but when you think about the injury situation last year and how they looked before all the injuries, I think Brad Holmes is well within his right to say, I think we got it all in house. I think that, this is pretty much set up. We just need to add a piece here and there to supplement our depth, and that way we can ride throughout the totality of a season.
Right.
The Lions' defensive line, specifically the edge, seems to be a hot-button issue.
Hey, sounds like Brad Holmes, he's got a plan in his mind. Zadarius Smith, with his signing bonus, with his 2026 cap hit, was not worth it at this price, at the price that he was at. I've always said, though, I still disagree with letting him walk, but if the Lions can re-sign him, if Brad Holmes can re-sign Zadarius Smith at a cheaper price, I will just call him Master Holmes. Because at the end of the day, Zadarius Smith, with his age, I don't think last year's contract was too much, but if you could get him at something cheaper, it'd be a bargain.
Another one.
Miller, does that interest anybody just yet in Von Miller?
See, the player I'm absolutely interested in.
This is the same thing Brad Holmes is doing.
He can come in and be a veteran leader for this team. Don't get me wrong, but the age concerns me. The age absolutely concerns me, and he's been more injury prone later in his career. So that's something that could you bring him in on maybe a vet minimum and ride that way? I wouldn't be mad at it. Let's say that, but that's not somebody.
Yeah, the chat is like they're with you.
There's not somebody I would seek out. There. It's not somebody I would seek out.
Yeah. I'm seeing Dante 151. He's old. Eric Allen passed on Miller. Steve DeYoung. Nope.
Okay, I'll talk about the Pistons now. The first thing I'll talk about is that J.B. Bickerstaff snub.
There is not a single person that did a better coaching job than J.B. Bickerstaff.
Yeah. This is egregious. It truly is. Like the Cade Cunningham MIP one, we both said that.
Yeah, too good.
Whatever. The Malik Beasley one, I think he should have won that 100%. But J.B. Bickerstaff not being named the NBA Coach of the Year is just absolute buffoonery. He took over a 14-win team. Was the first team in the history of the NBA to triple their win total. He had to, like Chris said, establish a culture here in Detroit. They were moving on from terrorist Monty Williams. You had a superstar in the making that you didn't know what he was going to be next year because of the injury. You had a lot of different moving pieces. He came in here day one immediately and established a culture. We remember our guy Eric saying you could feel it in his press conference that it was different. This is a guy that took this team and made them a 6th seed, and what Kenny Atkinson did was take over a culture that J.B. Bickerstaff built in Cleveland. He literally took the team that J.B. built and the culture J.B. established and pushed them to what they are now. J.B. did it again in Detroit. He took them from a 14-win team to the 6th seed. That has never happened. What they did, tripling their win total, has never happened before in the NBA. It's just ridiculous that you did not make this guy Coach of the Year. There's nothing anybody can say that can convince me that what Kenny Atkinson did in Cleveland was more impressive than what J.B. Bickerstaff did in Detroit. You can't.
That's exactly why it's Detroit versus everybody. That's the way it's always had to be. We didn't choose this shit.
I think a lot of it has to do with the bad boys.
And the Bad Boys really were the first mini dynasty that this generation or the generation before us ever witnessed in this city. And they were massively hated in the NBA. I mean, not disliked, hated. I don't think that there's ever been a team since or beforehand that was hated nearly as much. Maybe the Boston Celtics.
And that goes back to, once again, the media. The media has painted that picture because in the 80s, if I remember correctly, everyone played basketball like that.
Celtics just as much.
They were worse. They were dirty with it. At least the Pistons knew where they stood. They were dirty. They were sneaky. Everyone played like that. But they placed it on the Pistons. So now when every fan and every city and every outlet, when you think of that brand of basketball, who beat up Michael Jordan? Oh, the Pistons. Who beat up Larry Bird? The Pistons. You don't talk about Kevin McHale or Parrish.
You don't talk about the foul on Rambis.
Do you think it's an age thing? Because everything you're referring to is older, and I feel like if you pay attention now, look at like the draft and like the Knicks players. Like now, people come to Detroit, they love it.
His biggest need in the offseason is secondary scoring, Swish or Brick.
Swish. You got to help out Cade.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the bottom line. I took a second pause there because I was thinking about another defensive improvement we could have made. You know how big of an improvement we made under JB Bickerstaff last year, coming from the bottom of the league to the middle of the league. So I would expect them to jump towards the top end of the league. You can't not help Cade, though.
Yeah.
And I know that Jaden Ivey was out, and that is secondary scoring.
But how good is it?
But yeah, that's still a question. So I would bring in one guy who could probably help with the secondary scoring, but I am desperately looking to improve that defense into the top 10 where JB Bickerstaff is known for his teams.
I gotta go with Swish. JB Bickerstaff has improved his defense from where it was before, but as Justin said, you need to help Cade. Cade needs help. Hopefully that's Ivy returning, coming back.
Yeah.
But if anything, still look for something else. Look for another option out there if you can. So Swish.
I think more importantly than what you do to go out there and find that next star, it's about what you have here with your controllable, cheap assets right now who are going to still play very important roles for you.
No, absolutely. And I feel like, most people want the big swing. I'm kind of in favor of that. If you can facilitate it, I absolutely want you to take a big swing. But if they decide not to do that, I think if you can keep the core of this team together with some of the veterans that they have, you pointed to Malik Beasley and Schroeder. Those are the two that I would look at as well. Is Tim Hardaway, is he off the books?
1-year deal.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if I had to pick two out of those three, it would be those two, and Tim Hardaway would be on the outside looking in. And that's no offense to what Tim Hardaway, he brought a lot to this team this year. But can you improve at that position? I think you can.
Like I said, we didn't choose the bad boy life. It chose us. It's not always great, and Woodward Sports knows.
Sucks. But on to baseball season.
But yeah, it's on to baseball season. Which means Tiger baseball. Remember how I talked about how Detroit sports were a key component of my relationship with my mom? Yeah, baseball is definitely the sport that unites us the most. I remember going to my first Tigers game as a little guy at the old Tiger Stadium. My mom and grandpa actually went to the last game at Tiger Stadium. I'm not going to lie, I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to release 3 videos this week. But that's an unfair expectation from myself. When we were going through a hard time in life, and trust me when I say, we've had our fair share. She said, whatever happened to just being happy? Doing what makes you happy is always good enough. Star Wars makes me happy. Sports make me happy. Creating videos makes me happy. If I do 2 instead of 3, that's okay. My mom has always said that doing what makes you happy is good enough. So yeah, on to baseball season. First, we have to talk about how the Tigers are absolutely on fire.
They have the same record as the Dodgers. They're tied for the MLB lead right now. So, I mean, this team is
that is crazy.
Just so good. They're so balanced. Whenever they need a guy to step up and fill a role, he does. That's honestly, and thanks to AJ Hinch. AJ Hinch just continues to put these guys in positions to succeed.
Absolutely.
Where even when they're slumping, he's willing to put them in those positions still and let them hit their way out of the slumps. I mean, you saw what that did for Trey Sweeney, what it did for Justin Henry Malloy as he had a couple of nice at-bats in this series. I just think that it's just the chess game is at peak performance right now. Like, we're talking about AJ Hinch having like 2 extra pieces on a chessboard versus the opponent.
Yeah.
Like, he has 2 extra pawns or 2 extra rooks and is outnumbering the other player's chessboard by 2. And because he has just so many more pieces that he can use to move around and be successful. And that's just something you can't say about a lot of MLB teams. Even the Yankees and the Dodgers don't have the versatility that the Tigers have.
The Tigers are my favorite American League team, but in the National League, it's all about the Dodgers. Everything comes up Dano. Why do I like the Dodgers? Can you name another team that moved across the country? Oh, right, the Giants. Well, the Dodgers had Jackie Robinson. So I rest my case. Back to the Tigers, though. Obviously, specific players will be brought up.
One day, you played with your best friend for the last time, and neither of you knew it.
Yeah.
That was Kenta Watch. Yep. Kenta Watch was our childhood best friend that we played with every single day. And we loved being around each other. And we looked forward to each other's company. We couldn't wait to see each other. Because we were going to talk about baseball. We're going to be about the ball game and everything like that. Little did I know at the time that his last appearance, I gave my last Kenta Watch. And I'm not upset that it's over. I'm happy because it happened.
Well, yeah,
so Kenta, I bid you farewell officially. Kenta Watch is done. You are gone, but you are not forgotten, Kenta. Thank you for your service, and good luck in your future endeavors.
Here's a more relevant one.
I think that this is what you're going to see the rest of the season. I think that Javi's new swing is for average, not power, and that's helping him have that strike zone discipline that he's never had.
He's been better at it. Because
I'm not
even in last night's game, he was whiffing on some shit to the outside. He's still Javi.
He's still Javi, but it has helped him. His whiff rate has gone down tremendously. He has much better hit. Like he's hitting the sweet spot of the outfield when he makes contact between the infielders and the outfielders much more. So I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna take Baez and Torque. And I'm going to take him as a 2-for-1 parlay.
You ain't say we could pick 2. But, I mean, Torque is, I feel like, the obvious answer. But, yeah.
I have faith in Javi.
I do, too, though.
I hate to say it, but I seriously believe that because this team is now extremely competitive, he's going to come alive.
He's going to help
and that's
more
something
than he
that
hurts.
I've thought over his entire career here is you just got to make this team good. And then once they're good, he'll come to life.
Yeah.
And that's what he did in Chicago, and now you're seeing the resurgence of him now. And so that's why I have faith in Javi moving forward.
But Javier Baez definitely gets talked about a lot. I am definitely a part of that. Whether a player justifies their contract is always the topic. But Spencer Torkelson seems to be proving why he was a first-round pick.
And with Torque, we already know the story, man. You know, he had the 30 home run year. Looked like he was going to turn the corner. He was a 1-1 guy coming out of college, and he broke all kind of records in college. So you kind of thought that his trajectory would be fast-tracked to a degree. But then he slumped the next couple years after that, and he put the Tigers in a position to where they had to put pressure on him to be better because you didn't know whether he was going to be a part of this team going forward. Now I would say that he has established himself as one of the core pieces of this team, and his trajectory could be one of the best first basemen in all of baseball, especially from a power hitting perspective. But you like how his defense has come along as well. He doesn't look completely lost at first base anymore. He's able to make a lot more of those routine plays. He's not having as many errors. I think that, you know, if he continues to develop at this pace, and if he can finish this year, let's say with a 800 OPS, I think he only gets better from there. Like, he could be challenging 900 OPS type numbers if he can really just be consistent at the plate with his discipline.
I have to bring up Trey Sweeney as well.
Sweeney, we can add him to the list of the I'm back people for this year because Trey Sweeney has come back in a major way. His numbers have taken a mad uptick, you know, just based off the last week or so of baseball he's given us. And it's just the normal names, man. Gleyber Torres, like you said, Torque just continuing. Javi Baez, he's continuing.
Hey, Javi Town, come on.
You're damn right, man. We got to give him some love. But Andy Ibanez, lefty killer, we already know what he's capable of, man. And the pitching was huge, man. Shout out to Casey Mize that went out there and had an exceptional outing. And also Kyder Montero, man, him coming, from AAA, being able to go in this game and put up 8 innings pitched, that was absolutely huge. You got to save a lot of your bullpen arms because in that first game you had to expend a few too many. So this was a huge series for the Tigers, although against a very, very weak team. And I just look forward to what they're going to bring us next. They're coming home. They have mad momentum right now.
I literally have Sweeney tattooed on my arm. It's because my grandma's maiden name was Sweeney. It's an Irish last name. There's actually a couple Sweeney castles still in Ireland. I hope it's one of the ones that's still standing and isn't just a pile of rubble. But anywho, the Tigers played the Rockies twice on Thursday in a doubleheader. The Tigers won the first game, which Woodward Sports talked about.
The Detroit Tigers absolutely dominate the Colorado Rockies 10-2 in Game 1, and we're currently kicking butt in Game 2. We're live on air doing the heavyweights, but this is the Casey Mize game, especially when you needed it the most to eat innings. He did that today, and that was the biggest thing of it all. He was able to help out this bullpen. We got a stack series coming up against the Rangers, so this was super big. 6 innings, 1 run, 8 Ks, 0 walks. Casey Mize looked dominant, and Spencer Torkelson came through. Andy Ibanez came through. We blitzed this team that had 3 errors in the first 2 1/3 innings. We took advantage, and that's why we are who we are, being the top of the AL, and they are who they are, being the worst team in the major leagues. Already kicking butt in Game 2 here, so stay tuned for that update coming up soon. Nicholas Koloff, Woodward Sports.
And then they won the second.
The Detroit Tigers absolutely dominate the Colorado Rockies in the doubleheader with the final score 21-3 for both games. We win this one 11-1, and the Tigers are absolutely rolling going into Comerica Park against the Rangers and the Red Sox. 2 big series against AL contenders, and I feel good about this one. Kyder Montero eating up innings left and right today. 8 innings pitched. You got to see Justin Henry Malloy getting in on the fun. Well needed for him to see him drive in some runs, along with the Colt Keith 450-foot moonshot. Shout out Colt Keith. Gleyber Torres also got in 3 RBIs in this one. So much fun right now as a Detroit Tiger fan. You are dominating these inferior teams. Love to see it for the Detroit Tigers. So much fun right now, and I cannot wait to see a packed Comerica Park this Friday, tomorrow, against the Texas Rangers. That's how you take care of business against a Rockies team that is the worst in baseball. You sweep them, and that's exactly what the Detroit Tigers did. Still have the best record in the AL. The Detroit Tigers. Nicholas Koloff, Woodward Sports beat reporter for the Detroit Tigers.
I'm about to do my weekly recap, so cue segue clip. Sunday was my Star Wars party, and I'll post a link to the video in the description. On Monday, I had my normal cognitive therapy session. I mentioned that I'm taking a break from physical therapy and whatnot for right now. I'll be going back to RIM in the fall. Tuesday through Thursday I worked on these videos. Like I said, link in description. Friday is my inclusively fit day. I don't have a fancy supercut today. Just this video of me riding the bike. I get a full mile in every week. I also listen to the Tigers game against the Rangers. I mentioned I prefer listening to baseball, right? It was great seeing them get a competitive win. On Saturday, I just chilled in my garage and listened to music in the ballgame while smoking. It's seriously so nice out.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood.
Everything comes up Dano. This was the scene downtown before the game. I would definitely be standing in line for that Tarek Skubal bobblehead too. But that's the whole week, so I guess it's time to roll.
They see me rolling, they hating.
Happy Mother's Day once again. Also, once again subscribe to join the Dan fam, hit the like button and notification bell if you don't mind. Please be gentle though.
Peace on y'all. Go Tigers.